Hello, hello, hello. Sorry about the delay today. It rained. It rained rather hard too. Hey, Philanda, thank you for your patience and
Hi.
hanging in here with me.
No problem. I get it.
Oh wow. So let me see what I can do about that. Oh, that did not help. Okay, maybe it did. So how you doing today, Philanda?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay, so oftentimes I just want to get that disclaimer out there while we still waiting for people to get in here.
Hmm.
Oftentimes I just speak, from a woman's perspective because that's really the only perspective I can speak from, like from an educated woman's perspective on certain things. But it's not to say to heed my advice. It's not to say anything like I'm right or you wrong or whatever. It's to say, go out here and be knowledgeable and use wisdom as you put your spin on whatever it is that you're doing. Who is this? Hey Ty, how you doing, honey? So yeah, I just want to make sure everybody's understanding that I am no means by any means saying, "Oh yeah, I know it all. You should just take my advice." And then we have Falada as another woman's perspective, educated woman's perspective on how things, go down, or just from our lived experiences, right, Falanda?
Right. And I think it's really great that we have we come from the same place, but we have two different life experiences through our travels and our journey.
I agree. I agree. Okay, so Eddie they had me using a different type of camera uh angle, so it just go instead of it looking like I'm looking down all the time, I'm trying to be more conscious to look up. And that's gonna be difficult because this is really awkward. But anyway, um, just so you know. So we have Miss Philanda Wright Jones. Okay, now I don't think, I was thinking, I don't think that God moves in our favor because we're a particular faith, but because we have faith in God, no matter what else is the fact or the matter or whatever it is that we're doing. But that's
Hmm.
just my inference derived from, my lived experiences and observations of diverse cultures, genders, and faiths, a long time ago, right? I learned
Right.
people, um, they're life learners, and I was like, no, I'm just trying to get out of school. But then I came to learn that the more complex things that you learn, the better it warns off dementia and Alzheimer's and things like that. So guess what I've been doing, especially because that's something that I've seen in my family that's taken a couple of us out. So I'm like, oh Lord, I'm gonna be proactive and I'm just gonna keep learning, different and more complex things. But a lot of times, we come from public school. I'm not down in Gage Park because that's where we met, and that's where a lot of my friends come from is Gage Park in Chicago, and Daly and UIC in downtown Chicago. I've been all over Malcolm X. I've I've been to quite a few schools, but it's like the different schools it's different. And then I came to learn that there's more than just traditional school out there, and that's when I started to learn more about homeschooling. But before teaching was ever certified as a profession, knowledgeable people were teaching others who were seeking knowledge and were receptive of that knowledge. And that's really what made education what it is, as successful as we have seen it be, whether it's traditional school or homeschool. But you know what? It's funny because it's like traditional school was once homeschooling because they didn't exactly have a profession or institution or a person up
Especially for our culture.
there. Hmm.
Like we come from homeschooling, especially when educating us was illegal. This is where we started from.
Hello.
Like it took us as a community for each one of us, literally each one of us, to teach one of us. And I still think that that should exist and does exist in part today. We just do it a little differently.
Hmm. And it's like the the difference is it's so wide of a variety of differences because you have your private school and they have a particular method, and then you have your public school, and it seems like anything and everything goes in public school. I'm just saying.
Look, from our own experience in public school to some of the stuff I had seen in my daughter's public school, I was like, And let me be honest with you, the Catholic school wasn't that different. I was like, except this one I have to pay for.
uh, a lot of money, and that's when people's voices of when they complain, that's when their voice is really heard, because it's like, oh, I'm paying for this, you're gonna listen. But people
Hmm.
who go to a public school, I think they feel less likely that their voice will be heard because they're not paying for it. And people are kind of quick to tell somebody, well, you're not even paying for it, or you didn't even pay your fees or your dues or whatever, and they throw that in their face to make their voice seem invalid.
Right. But I think that we have put so much emphasis. Well, okay, so some things have happened. This is from my own observation. So, to a little background, like I am a product of the public school system. I started off with my daughter in kindergarten in a Catholic school because her father's family were all about private education.
Mm,
So we agreed that we would try that, and it was supposed to have been a assistance with tuition. We're going to discuss that, but that didn't happen. But I figured this would be a good thing to do. So we gave that a try for her first year of life, and then I just found that that was not a good fit for her.
mm,
So, for as far as that goes, it was really me getting more assistance. So, here was the issue. So, my daughter was diagnosed with epilepsy in her toddler years,
mm,
and the Catholic school could not give me assistance or make provisions for her as we get her medicated,
mm.
as well as come to find out she had a learning disability and they had no accommodations for
Oh wow, let's unpack that, because that's a lot right there.
her.
Because there are, for example, I didn't know that there's some National Jewish Hospital, they have it so that some of their patients can attend their schooling where they can receive medication and education at the same time, and
Hmm.
they're they're accountable for it. You know what I'm saying? Because some schools
Right.
they're like, well, we're not going to be accountable for that, and some BS happened, and then oops, that's all they say. That's all they can say. But what was your experience with that?
So going in right out of the gate, I was like, okay, so she's on medication and we're trying to figure this out because typically what they don't do is diagnose children under 5 with any disabilities.
Mm,
So they try not to. They see if this it's an individual thing or is this really a diagnosable thing.
mm-hmm,
So the school wasn't willing to work with me and her pediatrician nor her neurologist. They said that we just don't have the facilities for that. And
well,
yeah, Ty has a good point. I was like, if there were more people of this complexion would have been an issue? Or is it just because this is a Catholic school in a community and 90% of your students are African American?
mm,
Like, I'm like, so let me get this straight. You can't help me out a little bit? Like if she falls asleep in class, don't hold that against her because the medication is making her drowsy. Like
mm-hmm,
if she needs a little extra assistance, now I will take it. Now she had an African American male teacher who was willing to pull her to the side and try to assist her, but all the time that wasn't helpful.
mm-hmm.
because the whole reason why, I mean, like, I want her to be able to function with all of the rest of the students, to be able to learn at the same rate they were learning, and
Right. That's
that
the
was
point of
not
having
the
her in
case.
the school. Yeah, I get it.
Right. And so I'm like, if you got to pull her aside, you got to give her separate lessons. She got to spend more time there. And at the same time, look, let me be honest with you. You a male teacher. How many? Is there a woman assistant teacher in the classroom? Look,
Hmm. Hmm.
it get real sketchy out here in these streets.
Yeah. I remember my kids were trying to go to public school. I was doing both, letting them go to public school and have that
Hmm.
experience, as well as homeschooling them continuously because that was their primary. So
Hmm.
then later, it came to find that there was a male predator that was one of the teachers, and it was on the news and everything. And it's like, yeah, so it's not just girls that we have to be protective of; it's children. Period.
It's children, period. Like for even with us in the ministry, I had an opportunity to work for a Catholic based organization, a nonprofit organization, and we had to take a class called Protecting God's Children. And so
Mm,
this is something, when I got into ministry, I put those same screening processes, those same things in place. So like even within our ministry, like we don't, not everybody can be with the children. You need a
mm,
background check. We need to know what your lifestyle is. Look,
mm.
there's some things you can discern by the spirit, and there's some things you're gonna need to background check. You're gonna need to see, is there a criminal record?
Right.
Are there allegations? Like these things need to be done.
Hmm.
And somehow we drop the ball with that, or we frown upon it. You don't need the man in your business. No, I need to be in your business. I need to know who you are. I need to make sure that my child is safe. And I
And
see
you know,
nothing wrong with that.
it's good you say that because a lot of people don't understand that African American community um, mothers, it's various ones, but in every culture you see women who have children and they care about their kids, and women who have children and they don't really, care. They're not as protective as the
Hmm.
as someone who is labeled as overprotective. But it's a matter of, it's not agreeing with your spirit for your child to be in this predicament and you don't have the clear understanding, because anything can happen. Whether you have a clear understanding of what should happen and who that person is, anybody can snap. But the point
Right.
is, a lot of people don't think that we are, as loving and caring and as aware and mindful as other cultures are. And I don't think that that's an accurate depiction of the whole community of African American mothers.
No, most definitely. Like there are those of us who go way far. Look, I am that mom. I need to know where you are. I need to know who your friends are. I need to know who your friends' family are. Look, I need to know where they come from, what kind of stock they come from. I need to know who is around you. And you need to know who is around me. You need to know who my friends are and know that their word never supersedes you. You're my child, my flesh and blood, my responsibility, my gift from God. I'm going to protect you. So don't nobody's word supersede you, mine. And then nobody's word is going to supersede yours. I'm that mom. I'm the same.
Exactly.
I'm the same mom. So my daughter's first year of daycare, she was in the pre-K program, and then she came home. I picked her up from school one day. Well, we won't, because we both know him. My then fiance picks her up from
Oh no.
daycare. Yep. My then fiance picked her up from daycare, and she had a black eye.
Oh,
I said, "Where this come from? Who hit you?" And she was like, she was like, "We were just playing, and they said I'm sorry." Come to find out, this little girl had been bullying her. And I was like, "Look, you need to look. I'm not that parent to tell you, well, we don't fight." I said, "Do tell the responsible adult party, but you know, if they put their hands on you, tear them up. Get up in there,
her.
defend yourself."
And then
And
our
if it gets,
kids be so scared that we gonna be mad at them for
oh
defending
yeah,
themselves. So we have to
oh
have
yeah,
it's so many talks that we have to have with our children. They just
before they
seems
could leave
like
the house.
it
But
just
yeah,
seems like it's ridiculous. And then we get labeled as, we don't care about our children. It's like, what? because
Who
we're
said
trying to
that?
allow them to do things that we see that they want to do, and they want to do the things that they see their peers do, and they see their
Mm-hmm.
peers, they don't see the color of their skin, they see their peers as their peers, their friends.
Right. But that's like not always the case. But that's part of that. That some things have to be taught at home.
Hmm.
Like they're not going to learn in school that what's a good touch and a bad touch.
Hmm.
They'll tell
Hmm.
them, and my daughter works in the education system right now. So as a teacher, they'll tell them, to get a hug in a bubble.
What is
And that's,
that?
yeah, so that means you put air in your mouth and blow a bubble. And so that
Oh,
way
you
you're
mean
not
when they're,
speaking out,
yeah,
and then keep your
okay.
hands to yourself. So that way you're not touching other students. I'm like, but
Where
then the
I'm
teacher
from, they
keep,
used to say crisscross applesauce bubble.
right.
I used to work in the daycare, and well, several actually. I got deep roots in the school system, and they would tell the kids crisscross bubble. I was like, what? That's cool.
Right. But yeah, so
But you,
they will say that, but then you have to tell your kid, well, what happens after that when that doesn't work? Because the teacher ain't always looking. I had my
mhm.
first inappropriate sexual interaction in kindergarten.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I'm sitting in the back of the classroom. The teacher's in the front of in the classroom teaching. And the little boy just pulls out his parts, and he just kept doing this for days. And I'm sitting up there like, this is not okay. First of all, I got a brother.
Uh,
What am I supposed to do with that? I got a whole big brother. I know boys and girls are different. Why do you keep doing that? And then you keep doing that. And you keep calling my name. And every time I turn around, you keep trying to put your business on me. So eventually, what had to happen was I told my mom, and she was like, "Well, you tell me, and I'm going to go up to the school. And in the meantime, you need to let him have it." So I did.
mhm.
I
Exactly.
caught him in the coat closet with a book. I tore him up. And we never had any further incidents.
I see. What did you do to that child?
Look, you remember how big school books used to be back in the day? Not like iPads now.
Oh wow. And
So
they
yeah,
used
I
to
was in
use
the,
hardcover books then.
and they used to have them big, thick hardcover books. Like we should all have back problems from our childhood.
Hey, Sean Anthony.
But yeah,
Girl,
so
like what
I
kind
went
of
in the
coat
coat
closet was it? Was it the one where you go in this way and out that
out
way?
the other way. It was. So I went in there because I had to go get my pencil broke. I went in there. I asked the teacher. I raised my hand, go get another pencil. I went in there, and here he come behind me, and he tried to put it on my hand, and I'm like, dude, that's enough. Bow. And
Oh
I just
wow.
kept hitting. I'm like, that's enough. Stop. 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 You being weird.
You like beat him bloody or you just hit him until he stopped?
I hit him until the teacher came in there and pulled me up off of him. Cause he
Oh
screamed.
wow.
Oh, cause I hit that thing. I have been taught the thing that
You hit
offends you is
the
the thing. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I
oh my
did. I'm about that life from a young age. That look, the thing that offends you is the thing you need to hurt. And he kept pulling it out. I was like, at that, I'm 5. I just know it shouldn't have been touching me. It don't supposed to touch me. And there he is trying to put it on me. So I hit
right. Like who is
it.
this mama? Who raised you? Who does that? Who goes in and say, "Oh, you're gonna touch this," and just put your hand on it? Like you sound
I'm
like a
like,
predator, dude.
right. I'm like, I don't know what you do in your house, but we don't do that in my house. And my mama don't allow for stuff like that. I'm not getting in trouble with my mama.
Yeah, Erudition has a good point. Some kids they're acting out because of something they may see, something they may have experienced,
Yeah.
and he may have had a sexual encounter that he didn't want, and now he's trying to make turn it around to something that's more desirable for him. He was like, "Well, I didn't like who touched it the last time, so this time I'm gonna make sure the person that touches it is somebody that I want, and they're gonna touch it the way I want them to touch it." It's
Mm-hmm.
just sad because they don't think about who they're victimizing and doing the thing that they're doing. But I mean, you're 5, so you don't know. You just responding.
Look, back then, like now I understand, like going through the process and working with children who have experienced trauma and stuff like that. So now I know that this is learned behavior, and hurt
Hmm.
people, especially children, hurt people will hurt people because they just don't know no better. If
Hmm.
we're not teaching them proper touch, proper response, proper protection of your own body and your own personal space, if we're not teaching that in the home,
Hmm.
then whatever they learn in the home, they take out in the public.
And Ty's right. That's probably how he was approached. But it's like this: we we don't know. Like, for example, I've seen a lot of people say they don't want to talk to their kids about that because they don't want to introduce that sort of thing to their child prematurely, so they're
Mm-hmm.
not sure what they should and what they shouldn't tell their kids. For example, when my husband was in Bahrain, he was always deployed, and it was just really primarily me being the one who would give the kids care and prepare them for whatever they were going to encounter for the day or whatever. And it was
Mm-hmm.
public school, so I didn't see anything wrong with the school. It was a very small school, and I didn't know exactly how to prepare them every day. So I would just pray and send them along their way, and they would be very forthcoming with me and tell me about how their day went and what they encountered during the day. But sometimes they didn't know what to say or what was important to be said, and it was like, okay, well, I didn't know that that was important. And they would tell me about the little kissing games on the play yard and in the classrooms, and the things that they were doing, and how they may have been skeptical to go to the public restroom for various reasons. And I was shocked and appalled, really, because one of my sons was like, he didn't like going to the public restroom because people would look at him and would see. And I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on. And I wasn't really feeling comfortable with it. And that was, among the top one of the reasons why I did not favor traditional school and why I originally homeschooled them, because I wanted them to have enough education to know what's good, what's bad, what's not. And people would get upset with me because they're like, you're not letting them have a childhood because you're telling them too much. I'm like, it's better to inform them than have them to be a victim. So they
Mm-hmm.
knew about touch, bad touch. Girls look different from boys, and they knew a whole lot going into it, to include the alphabet, the phonetic sounds, and how to read. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you can't tell them too early. You just can't tell them early enough. But that's
Right.
just my inference from everything that I've seen in over 20 years of being in the school system and seeing all the things that's going on with kids, their parents, and the teachers.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like most definitely. I believe as soon as they can understand that this is their body and these are their body parts, unfortunately, we have to start having the conversation now. We have to start having the conversation now. Like we don't. I was I was watching an episode of Law and Order SVU, and they were talking about like the main character. For those who watch the show, the main character, she was saying how she was 16 and having a relationship with a 20-year-old guy, but they were in love, so she
Mm,
consent, and that it took her a while, even as a special victims unit detective, to rationalize in her mind that that's illegal and that's not okay.
mm,
Like if we don't teach this stuff in our homes, like I don't care, this is what the law says and this is what I say as your parent, and
huh,
my rules are not to be broken. If anyone is touching you, looking at you, saying things to you that are inappropriate, like these are good things, this is good touch. I don't want our kids to live in fear, but there has to be a distinguishing between good touch and bad touch.
mhm,
When you allow giving consent to go into your personal space and when you don't, like there has to be conversations about that. We have to, unfortunately, we have let this go on for too many years. Being being a young teenager in Chicago, and we just look, we don't. I have noticed, like going to my daughter's high school when she was in high school, like these kids, as much as we thought we looked grown, we are nothing in comparison to these teenagers. Like no comparison whatsoever.
And it's like I have to tell my sons, and I always tell anyone, it's not about good touch, bad touch, meaning it didn't feel good or didn't
Mhm.
feel like you liked it or whatever. It's the matter of the fact, was this appropriate? Was this something that you should be doing at the time, so that they don't feel awkward coming to me and telling me, well, somebody did, XYZ. For example, one of my sons said, well, some girl tried to kiss me, and they just feel real comfortable talking to me because I don't judge. I never
Mhm.
judge. And I pass that on to my children as well, that I don't judge them. So they'll, whatever the problem is, whatever the case is, they'll feel comfortable talking to me about it. So he said,
Right.
well, this girl tried to kiss me, and I'm not really sure, how I feel about that and what I feel about that. And then we'll have that talk, we'll have that discussion, and they'll tell me what was going on. And then, one of the kids will say, well, this guy in the classroom, one of my friends did such and such, and we'll talk about it. And it's like, because you have already established that communication was okay, and the lack of judgment for whatever they say to you, is there, so that they have a comfortable level of, oh yeah, well, I could tell my mom anything. And my kids' friends would always be like, you told your mom what? And she said, what did she say, what did she do? And then my kids are always like, what do you mean? She didn't do anything. What was she supposed to do? My mom would have killed me. So
I
that's
get
why
it.
that's why all the kids, I think, all their friends would always, want to come over and want to, be around and everything. And I'm more, I'm not, that outgoing, but I didn't
Mhm.
turn anybody away at the same time. So I was like, yeah. And I don't want any kid to think that because I'm a certain way, that their parent has to be that way. So they always wanted me to talk to their mom and say, can you
Mhm.
talk to my mom? Can you talk to my dad? And they would say things, and I would be like, well, you have to have that kind of communication with your mom and your dad and whomever it is. Yeah, you do make some very astute points, Philanda.
Yeah. Like unfortunately, I've seen way too many things. I've seen too many children. I've experienced it. I am a survivor myself. We have to have these conversations. We have to get beyond. I think the difference in, like, I wouldn't tell my mom probably half of the stuff that I did. But I did make sure that I tried to make sure that I left the door open for my daughter.
Hmm. Do you
Like
think that your mom probably felt that she left the door open for you?
my mom was one of those, like, she began trying to have the talk with me at like 7. So I'm like, my mom, she would
I
try to
mean,
be
you
like,
were
oh,
5 when they got trying to sexually assault you, so.
right. So my mom, to me, it didn't feel like she was opening the door for me to ask questions. It was just an overwhelming amount of information.
Mm,
And I'm like,
mm.
whoa, too much. It's too much. Wait. No, la, 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 la. This doesn't happen. Babies come from the hospital. I don't want to know what you do. Ew.
Yeah, I think it's awkward for moms too. I'm thankful I don't have a daughter, but I still told my sons, and yeah, they were like, "It looks like what?" Now, see, this is just me. This is how I did it, because
Mhm.
their dad was gone, and it was, always something going on where, my son couldn't be two without a girl kissing on him, and everybody was, I was at a party, and everybody was mad at me, like, you overprotective of your son or whatever. I'm like, whatever. So I had to tell them, and I was like, I think I should show them pictures. And I was like, what do I do? I can't just, So I showed them what a diseased female part looks like and what a diseased male part looks like. So from there, they can kind of, use their imagination to know what it looks like when it's normal. But I
Mhm.
taught them from the aspect of this is wrong. This is not what this should be. And if you allow somebody to touch you and they're dirty, this is what it's going to look like. And if somebody touched her and he was dirty, this is what she's going to look like, and it's not going to
Right.
be good. So they get the concept early of what's good and what's bad, even though it may feel desirable. So they don't
Mm-hmm.
think that, just because a guy touched you and it felt good, but was it good? It doesn't matter. And it's like I had to tell her, people gonna touch you in these spots because they know that it's a desirable, thing to do, and you're going to have
Mm-hmm.
a different reaction. But is this something that you want? And how often do you want it? And when do you want it? And when you're in the public school arena, it's just nothing but time and opportunity. Nothing but time and opportunity. And people get to do things and, do whatever they want to do.
Right.
Yes, he was gone, but he communicated with me and the kids very
Mm-hmm.
often, like every day, and we would, do the, virtual thing. So that's why I'm fairly comfortable
I
with
was
the.
wondering, like, with him being away and you having all boys, like, did it get awkward?
Often.
Like, especially when puberty hit and you got all boys.
But see, that was the thing. We were already so open with one another. Like
Okay.
my third child, and then my kids like the street. I'm just like, as long as you don't have the curtains or blinds open so that everybody getting a free show, then you can do whatever you
Mm-hmm.
want to do. But when my door is closed, you don't want to be traumatized, so you might not want to open that door.
If that door
But
is closed, it's closed for a reason.
right. You want to be traumatized because one time I remember feeding one of my babies. I used to breastfeed all my kids, and I was feeding one of the babies, and my son walked over, and I could see in his face that he looked a little like disheveled, or like, what does he say? And that's when
Uncomfortable.
we had that, yeah, and that's when we had that conversation. I didn't know he was coming, at that time, because normally I'm
Mm-hmm.
covered. I always stay covered. And I was like, this is how babies eat. And if it wasn't for, that, the baby wouldn't be able to make it. And this is how you ate. And as a matter of fact, all of my kids, whenever I had a kid, they were in the room with us.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah, that was a learning opportunity. You're welcome, Eddie. Not to make you seem like you was completely absent, but
No,
a
nobody
lot of
said you were
women,
completely. Yeah, but
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
women,
women.
yeah, a lot of women from a woman's perspective, and that's why I wanted to do shows more about the woman perspective, because it's a lot of us, especially I talk to a lot of military moms in the various military groups that we're in, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like they're like, well, how do you do this and how do you do that? So when I was raising my sons and teaching them how to potty, that was as
Mm-hmm.
soon as they could walk, and I was like, no, that's your pee. You touch that. Mommy don't touch your pee. So I put their hand on their pee and I showed them that is how you pee. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I felt sorry because it was like this one guy, his wife was the military person. So she was always deployed. And he had daughters, two daughters. And it was
Oh.
like, yeah. And it was like, and then we were from different cultures. He was a white guy, I'm a black woman. And it's like, you don't know what the boundaries are, and you're still learning because everybody's
Mm-hmm.
different. And the little girl has to use the bathroom, and it's like, it's only a woman's restroom there, and can he go in? And it just gets really awkward. So it's not just from a women's perspective that's awkward, but also from a men, but from the men's perspective. But I can only talk about my experience and what I had to deal with directly. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I did. It was times where I had to help, other people, and it's like weird because even when I was working at a daycare, you can't touch these kids. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to touch them, and it was like weird because in the baby room and like the infants room, they're potty, right? And a little
Mm-hmm.
girl a potty, and when all depending on the type of milk you have, it's gonna always go in places it shouldn't, you
Oh
know.
yeah. Blowouts are
So
real.
I had to clean this baby, and I'm like, oh Lord, and I'm praying the whole time because I'm like, I ain't trying to catch a case, but this baby is filthy, from the each
Mm-hmm.
from the front crack to the back crack. She is filthy. So I took
Mm-hmm.
wipes and I had them on my hand. That was before we had gloves readily accessible. I put wipes on my hands and I never physically touched her body. I always only touched it with the wipes, and I cleaned her up really good and wrapped her up and closed her up, and she went right to sleep. She was always so fussy, but after that she was just right to sleep. It's like the moment that the child starts to potty, you should be telling that child, this, it's not okay for anybody but you to touch your pee pee. It's not
Right.
okay for anybody else to wipe your pee pee and your poo. You wipe your pee pee and your poo. And then you
Mm-hmm.
explain to them why. And like, yeah, you may like that I do it, but you have to take responsibility for yourself.
Right. Yeah, like
What
even
is
with the conversations with my, yeah. Yeah, it is like the relationship is everything. Like
mm-hmm,
I am like horrified when I see or hear people with parents who don't have like open relationships. I'm like, how do you do that? Like, how do you teach them? How do you like there has to be some understanding, there has to be some kind of give and take. And maybe I was just raised differently, but there has to be we have to be able to communicate with one another. Like everything, good, bad, or indifferent. Even if I don't like it, I find out you did it, and then you tell me you did it, and I gotta punish you for it because it's bad
mm-hmm,
behavior. Even that, like, but it still needs to be that good, bad, or indifferent. Like people be like I for some who I know we're all different in this day and age of parenting, but I raised my daughter with punishment.
mm-hmm.
There was a belt to the tushy. That was me. Like I ain't have to
Hey,
do
the
all
Bible says, better rise for the child. I mean, you do your
right.
thing.
So I like for me that worked for me. And people be like, oh, well, I don't understand why because I would light her up and she come right back, mommy, I love you. Can I have or I need or let me talk to you? Can I sit with you? Can we watch movies? I'm like, look, you're not a bad person. The
Mm-hmm,
thing you did was wrong.
mm-hmm.
And there
So
has
here's
to
a
be consequences for your actions.
exactly, or you will not learn. So here's a question. So, in your opinion, what is the one of the most important things that a mother can teach her child today?
Ooh,
And I
so
guess since you said
many.
her, her child, I guess we'll start with you. So, what do you think that a mother can teach her child today? I don't know.
Um, self self-respect and self-esteem, especially like in this day and age where everybody lives, these people who live on social media, they live for the likes, they live for the attention, they
Mm-hmm.
can't function without the comments and the followers.
Mm-hmm.
When that goes away and it's just you, that
Well.
your self-worth doesn't come from people liking you. Ugh,
Mm-hmm.
like this whole the way our children live today, like if I gave my granddaughter my phone right now, she knows how to go to TikTok and watch videos and like and don't like.
Mm-hmm.
She's 3.
Mm. And
Like
Matthew, that was my baby. He was on he was on YouTube and created a video. I didn't even know he could get on. He did some things with my cell phone and I didn't even
yes,
know. It's like I gave that to you to play with. You're doing way too much.
right.
It's
But
like,
yes, this is who they are now though. Like this is how they date, this is how they interact with one another. Like they don't even like, remember when we used to have like Valentine's Day in school and then you know
uh-huh,
they get the little cards, but they don't even do that. It's all on social media. This is how they
hmm,
interact, this is how they study, this is how they get to know one another, this is how they live. And
but
so
there's
there's
some good points to that though, because now, when kids are saying, get out of my room, respect my privacy, or whatever they may say, it's like you
mm,
putting it all out there for me to see anyway. So what?
right. But if we teach them that this is not just a screen, that this is your life and you have to determine your own self-worth. Nobody should be able to give it to you, because if somebody's able to give it to you, somebody has the ability to take it away from you.
That's right. Hmm.
And we really like it. If I could teach that to every young person coming up under me at any age, because it's some 20-year-olds who don't know that, it's some 30-year-olds who don't know that your
Well,
self comes
say it
from
again.
you.
Say it
Yeah,
again.
that your self-worth comes from you. Like, if we could all go back to that principle, like the thing me and Jesse were talking about with, my happiness was not his responsibility, like that really hit home and resonated with me. I'm like, it's not, because what happens when you stop making me happy?
Hmm.
Is the marriage over? We gotta get beyond that. What if I can't make you happy? What if this thing, like, so people will be like, you love me, and they'll be like, yeah, I do love you. But why do you love me? If you stop doing that thing, then that means they no longer love you.
I mean, you got valid points, and it's like that's why I try to, convey that I don't need, and I understand when people say they don't need a man, and I agree, you don't need them. It's the matter that you want them, and what do you want them
Yeah,
for? Why do you want them? Hey sis, how you doing? It's 50 or
you're
60
right.
minutes.
There are still some of those.
Man. And it's like, how do you get them to feel that way when people are always validating um, ill-gotten perspective? And it's like
Hmm.
there's not enough out here in the virtual world, let alone in reality, that's showing people and helping them to understand that the only perspective that matters is yours and how you
Yeah,
feel. Now you can have all this guided perspective and you can understand the wrong and the right of things, but at the end of the day, you have to make a decision for yourself. And that decision can be from the fact that you were guided, and you have the knowledge of what's good and what's bad. And then you
hmm,
put your spin on it. Do what you're going to do with that information.
right. But
Yeah, the
that, like,
blindly.
oh, exactly.
And
I,
that's one of my pet peeves. I have to say that is one of my pet peeves. Like, you're not really well vetted, that you should be trying to guide me anyway. And then just because you saying something doesn't mean I have to listen, because
right,
I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm trying to show you that I'm listening to what you're saying. But at the same time, I'm trying to help you understand that's not my opinion and I'm not saying that.
right. Oh, we can I tell you, like, going into our, like, me and Jesse's marriage, the way people would come at me with their marital advice, and I'm like, dude, and you need to do this, and because he was already a minister, and as a minister's wife, and just know that there'll be times where he won't have time for you, and there may be times and you just have to take the neglect, and I'm like, sweetie, who hurt you?
And it's like, and I try not to be rude because I know sometimes I'm discerning of the spirit that they come to me in, and I reciprocate
Hmm.
that. And I'm like, sometimes people will say things, and it's like, and I'm looking at them like, and I'm trying to hold my tongue. How did that work
Yeah,
out for you? That didn't work out for you. Oh, then I'll respond, and I'll ask a question because I need to understand, what it is that they're saying and how I can um, benefit from the knowledge. For example, they'll say, hey, you have to make sure that you always doing XYZ for your husband. I'm like, if he ain't doing XYZ, I ain't doing XYZ. So it's a reciprocal
right.
thing.
I love my mother-in-law. Like, she is resting in peace right now. But one of her first advice to me was, she was like, and make sure, like, and you do his laundry. And he was like, don't you touch my laundry. I don't like nobody touching my dirty drawers. And don't do that. I'm like, look, I'm just telling you what your mama told me that she wanted me to do for you. He was like, dang, what we do. That's what
Well,
she
since I
do.
appreciate you sneaking on, I hope they don't get for this, but I definitely appreciate you for sneaking on. Okay,
Right.
so
But
I ain't
yeah,
mad
like,
at.
people gonna have their opinions about it, and I'm like, look, sir, everybody, just because you have, and here's another thing, just because you have a certain number of years of experiencing a thing, doesn't mean that those number of years were a good experience. So you can't teach people from your perspective, and you've had 25, 30 years of a bad marriage. And now
Mm-hmm.
you teach other people from that opinion. That doesn't
Mm-hmm.
work that way.
And then you perpetuate it by passing that ill advice to somebody else. Like,
Right.
give your advice.
Like look, if I didn't ask you for it, why don't you keep that to yourself? Don't now,
Because,
no, I'm not saying I'm not teachable, because there's some things.
right, don't try to
Thing.
manipulate me by saying I ain't trying to listen or I ain't learning or whatever. You're
Right.
not going to manipulate me.
Right. But at the same time, like, don't, please don't, if you have been bitter and you've been hurt and this is all your experience and you have not told me how you made it out, how you healed, if you haven't got to the, if you only still in the middle of the storm, please don't try to tell me about not using an umbrella. I'm gonna grab my umbrella.
Talking about, and then that we about to get into a topic I was reserving for another time. Don't tell me how you trying to make sure that you doing this and you doing that, and then I get pregnant and you like, oh well, that's just how it go. That's just how it go. Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Like, hold on now, hold on. No, we all this all our baby. Y'all had some
Right.
say in. Y'all about to help me support this baby.
This is our child when we start supporting our child.
Hello. Oh, I didn't tell you to go out there and do such and such. You said XYZ. I did XYZ. And now that I followed your advice, we all raising this baby.
Right. Right, bitter Betsy. But no, I like sometimes, like, and I understand, like, you want to help out the next person, but are you really helping? You have to ask yourself, where's this
That
coming from?
part. That part.
Stop yourself before you say it. Like, where's this coming from? Is this coming from because you just got in a fight with your spouse? Now you coming at me, and me and him ain't even got in a fight. Like, unnecessary. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. But if you
And then
have good
one thing
stuff,
I really hate is when they'll tell a young lady, "Oh, y'all just dating, but show him what you would do if you were married. Act like you married already, so he'll know how to do."
no, no.
Mm.
That's why it's a whole bunch of people. I have a cousin who,
Oh,
no,
we
seriously,
gonna
because
go there.
they quick to, especially like some of these older generations, they quick to tell them, well, look, if you want them to make you a wife or a husband, then you got to give them privileges now. No, absolutely not. First of all, we're
Mm-mm.
not there yet. How do I know you the one? You could
And
be
not just
dating for
that.
some
Do I
years.
know you clean? I mean, can we exchange medical workers first? I mean,
Can we come on? Can we talk about those? I need to see your COVID card now. I need to see your monkeypox. I need to
exactly.
see,
It's more
I need to see
difficult
your
now.
STD panel. This is it's real out here.
Like, have you been exposed to monkeypox that you know of? Like, let's
Right.
wait 2 weeks now because that's when it kind of manifests itself. It's like so many things now that you have to actually be aware of. Like, at first it was like mono and stuff like that. And it's like, man, every time I turn around, it's always something. I just need somebody clean.
Yes. Like, look, abstain. Yes, I'm a believer. This is who I am. Abstain.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because it's God's word. At the same time, abstain because you need some background check. You need some physicals. You need STD panel. You need to
Abstain
know.
because your mama gonna whoop your behind if she find out. Your daddy gonna kill you, but at the same
Right.
time, you got needs. You flesh,
Look,
and
beyond
opportunity is there.
diseases. Do you know what kind of parent they are? Like, it took me one time to watch my daughter's biological father with his firstborn. And I was
Mm.
like, "Ooh, absolutely not. I do not want any children by you. You are not a good father." Your parents are good grandparents to your child, but they're raising your child, but you are not a good father. And I
And then
absolutely do
it's
not.
like it's not just our point to be making sure that the parent is gonna be a good. It was a vine that went out. I know you had to see it. But the dude was mad because the mama expected him to bring food for everybody. Like, You knew that before you had a child with her. You should be watching where you
Right.
drop your feet.
Right. Oh, yeah, like the guy with who went to the woman's house with the bag of McDonald's for his kid, and she was like, "You didn't feed my 8 other kids," and I'm like, dude, I'm like, look, I am one of those chicks. You are responsible for the child that you bring in this world holistically. He is not responsible for them 7 other times that you laid down and made babies. You
Exactly.
you
But he
doing
should
too
have been
much, sis. You
mindful.
doing too much.
Like he should have been mindful that this is what the expectation is going to be. If she
Some
expected you to do that
conversations needed to be
before,
had.
yeah, if she expected that that's how you got some before and that's why y'all got a kid, then she probably going to be expecting that regardless now that you
Mhm.
have a child.
Yeah. Like there are so many conversations. If there's another thing that I could teach, please really take the time to get to know these people and they people. Who they hang around, what they friends be like. Are they friends trash human beings? They might be a secret trash human being.
And it's
Did they
like,
come from a background of that? Is they ladies, while we out here dating these men, find out what their relationship with their own father is like and
mhm.
what they watch their father do to their mother or lack thereof.
And then it's
this
not to
this
say
stuff is
that you
telling.
judging them. Yeah, it's not to tell that you're judging them by that measure, but that you're aware and you're making decisions based
Yes,
on
you
being
make
aware.
informed decisions. Tell me everything. I need to make an informed decision because some of your imperfections I'm here for. I have imperfections. I want you to be here for those. But some things, deal breakers.
Exactly. And it's that part. It's like I'll get to know you until you have X number of deal breakers, unless that deal
Mhm.
breaker is like, whoa, that's deep. I can't even fool with you because that's too deep.
Right. And Ty is right. He had been doing that for the kids while they were together. When they broke up, he did exactly what the other baby daddies were doing. And now it's a whole problem. And I'm like, look, like y'all should have had some conversations. Hey, I want to get my man's some McDonald's. Okay, well, you need to come pick him up and take him away from the house and do that. Because if
Hmm.
you not, the other kids gonna see it and they feel a kind of way about it. So in order to keep down the mess, look, he going to go visit his daddy. When it's time for you to visit your daddy, then your daddy will come. Whatever
Right.
the arrangement
And
is.
on that note, it should have been he should have been more mindful because yeah, you don't want to. He was a kid once before too, and you know
Yeah.
better than to give a kid something, and that's the only kid that's getting something. You take that
Mm-hmm.
child away, y'all could have been in the car eating, and the kids could have been
Mm-hmm.
watching you out the window, or they could have not even paid any mind to you because they busy in the house or whatever. But you could just, be more mindful and considerate of everybody else because that's not cool. So that's on
Yeah.
either side that we all have to be mindful of who it is we're having children with. Not just women. It's not just a woman's problem. That's a man's
Oh, it's a
problem
man
too.
thing. Please get to know that there are some trash baby mamas out there. Absolutely. And you are laying down with her and you thinking an STD is the only thing you're going to get? You will get a
Mm,
lifetime because you could break up, but kids don't go nowhere.
they don't
You
go
still have
nowhere.
to interact with each other. There's marriage and divorce and no kids, but kids are forever. Y'all want to deal with each other.
And
So
it's
you
not
need to be,
exclusive to one community of people. This is
oh,
in
yeah.
general. This is women in general. And
Oh,
yeah, it
yeah.
is a perspective of, how, like Eddie was saying earlier about the failures on two people. But it's really more about, everybody being more informed because a lot of guys they're being told, and I know because I only hang around guys mostly, and
Mhm.
then I had kids, this boys, so I know
Right.
what they're telling guys. And then a lot of in my family, it was a lot of men, and that was around me first, and then the women, and they would tell different things, and we would watch their lifestyle and then how they're interacting with the guys, and they'll tell them, oh yeah, you can go around, you can hit this, you can hit that, but they tell the girls, oh, be more conservative and stuff like that. And it's like from there you come to understand that it's both our responsibilities. It's
Oh,
not just one person. What did I say? I have the conversation, which is why I turned social media for attention. I was not the first time again. And you know what? A lot of times people are driving a lot of attention from, s just like you have your hype up gang and everybody like, yeah,
Oh
you should do
yeah.
this, girl, you should do that. Now that hyper, that hype man, that hype person is the internet.
Yeah.
They went from being in the schoolyard to having the internet to be the thing
Because
that's gonna
the
drive you.
messy side of TikTok is a real place. I'm sitting, I'm like, how are you functioning as a human being? What is going on? How did you get here?
Like, this is
Like,
thoroughly entertaining, but
this is
dang.
totally entertaining, but how did you, as a human being, allow yourself to get into this situation that is so messy that I need to sit here and watch popcorn and watch my phone? This is so. How did we get here?
I promise you, I wish I had time to be in everybody comments like that, because I promise you they are entertaining. But it's like at the same time, I'm feeling some type of way because this your real life. This is your
Yeah,
life.
yeah. This completely unscripted, and you have to deal with the repercussions when these cameras go off. Oh yeah, I saw the live with her too, Ty. I was like, sis, where is your mom? Who raised you? Why? And then and immediately, and in that same lie, immediately there were people who are not of our culture was like, see what black women be like. And I'm like, we are not all like that.
It's
We
not.
are not
And then
all like
I
that.
know a lot of. I'm just gonna put it out there. I know a lot of white girls. I know a lot of Hispanic girls or Latinas, and it's like, and I know a lot of Asian chicks, and it's like, oh, we're not gonna even get into the Vietnamese, because they you would straight think that they came from the ghetto on some of the things that I have seen. So I was like, oh, I'm appalled. Where's my pearls? Because it's like
Right.
they keep it really real, and it's like, no, you not. And it's like, I saw like a couple of TikToks, and it was like, the Asian chick. She responded, "Do you want to die?" I'm like, oh. That was her response to her white husband, like when he
Yep.
did something that was bogus. She was like, "Do you want to die? Are you ready to die?" I'm like, "Whoa, that's fatalistic." Whereas a sister, she'll threaten you, but you get to live.
Right. And they not. Unfortunately, we had the incident recently where the I don't know if he was African or African American, and the OnlyFans celebrity who killed him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, seriously? Seriously, this is what we doing? Can't we just go back to what we just break up and hate each other from a distance? What is we doing out here? Is that serious now?
It's that serious, sis. And it was like one time I was on Facebook because everybody was like, "You're not. You just disappeared. You just disappeared. Can you just get a Facebook account?" And it was just so happened during one of my pregnancies, I was immobile because every one of them big head kids was crushing my pelvis to the point where I couldn't
Understandable.
walk. So I was immobile. So I'm bedridden and I'm just in there. I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and create this Facebook account, and I did. And it was like this sorority thing on Facebook, and I joined it. And baby, bye. They got serious. They because people put all their information on social media, where they live,
Mm,
their address, their phone number, and you could be reached like that, even faster than somebody actually having to like hack the system to find where you are and
right.
what you saying. And I was like, somebody went into a virtual thing now. It's all virtual. It's a game. It's a video game. And
Hmm.
somebody said, well, she went into my sorority house and she slapped me and took a whole lot of my money. It's a freaking game. It was like, I'm gonna be to see you in real life. Girl, it went from virtual reality to reality real quick, and things
Oh,
popped
cause
out ugly.
yeah, but I think the one thing that we forget now in this social media area that this you really have to live afterwards. Once the
Gotta.
screen goes off, once you log off, once you step away from your that you still have to live. And some of these people, I be one of those people. Say what you want to, but if this is something you ain't prepared to say to my face, maybe you
Hey,
keep
I
that
feel
one to
you.
yourself.
And see, that's the type of person I am. If I said it, once, I'm woman enough to say it again. That's why I try very
Mm-hmm.
hard to, be mindful of what I'm saying and make sure that everybody understands very clearly. If I say something to you and you're not sure how I feel about what I said, or if I said it the way you took it, tell me, and then we can go from there. But don't
Right.
take it the wrong way and you go postal, and then because you took it the wrong way, because that's not the spirit it was supposed to be given to you in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so we done went to our hour, and I am so sorry we were late today. And well, that's why I don't like alternate reality. But even though we don't like the alternate reality, that's it. This world is progressive, and as everything changes. Change is
yeah.
inevitable. So we got to continue to evolve. And as we evolve, we should definitely make sure that there's positive and proper perspective put out there for people to have proper guidance, so that we'll have less times where we're going to the theater and we can't relax because something bad's going to happen. We're going to the
Yeah.
mall and being victimized there. We can't go to the public restrooms because it's a problem there. We need to put more guided perspective out here to let people know that that BS might be entertaining when you watch it on Real Housewives or whatever, but real life, we want to
Yeah, it
all be.
doesn't work.
It is just not going to cross over.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to keep you longer than the time we have scheduled for today. See these
But if
comments
y'all
be
jump
going.
back on next time, tune in and catch up with us. We keep this same energy.
Right, because that's really what it's about. If you're interacting and you letting us know that, yeah, this is a topic that everybody needs to be talking about, and we need to be, putting it out there a lot more, then get on here and start, commenting early, soon. So ring that bell, subscribe, and ring that bell, and make sure that when that bell hits you and say, hey, they're live, they're on, get on, come on then, because we don't want to really, take it too long, because these are recordings that people like to share and pass on to other people so that they can hear and keep up with what's going on. Yes, I was late, but it has definitely been an hour. So if you didn't chime in when that notification bell said we're on, you late. And I
I
just,
like Ty. She keep the party going. I like her.
it actually still Regina. I know, right? But it's at the same time, I don't want to cut. I'm never going to cut Philanda off. That's my girl. That's my sister. I'm never going to cut her off. So, what do you say, sis? What you say?
um, we gonna stay with your format, but this does leave you to have to come back next week.
That Amen, sis. And that's what I'm talking
No.
about. Keep y'all coming back. Keep it coming back. Now, Wednesday, we have a treat. We have a special treat and another special guest for you. And we're going to keep it live. And these topics going to keep on hitting you different. So make sure you sharing. So if you sharing, we know, like, yeah, this is what you want to say. Yes, Philanda. She's showing you back some love.
I love you too, Ty.
And we also do overtime, maybe Wednesday.
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
probably get away with a little more overtime on Wednesday.
Okay, sounds good. But I never want to intrude on anybody's time. Yeah, I'm a person. I'll be a night owl till whenever, however I long I could do it. So I work in late in the evenings and way into the wee hours of the morning. But I don't want to keep Philanda. She has a whole life, y'all. Imagine that.
Yeah, I got to go do some things.
All right. Well, tell Jesse we send our love his way, and we appreciate his perspective on things, being a man and being a clown. He be clowning. He keep it live though, don't he?
He is a party a minute. I swear he is.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you all for coming on to the show today, and we're gonna work out these whole where she look, type of issues. So I'm not always looking down. All right. See y'all on Wednesday at 6 p.m. CST. Wednesday, 6 o'clock on Wednesday, right? Is that right, Yolanda? Six
Yeah,
o'clock CST.
6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard. 5 o'clock? No, 6. No, 5 o'clock your time.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So
There
look,
we go.
I want y'all to make sure you like, subscribe, so because Philanda will be back on Wednesday with a special guest that's gonna keep it live. So y'all come on back. Yes, Jesse is always welcome. That's Eddie. He's saying,
Yeah,
and that's
subscribe. You want to hear more from us? Subscribe.
and definitely interact, because I'm telling you, y'all gonna make us say some stuff. We
Look,
whatever y'all
I'm an
got us to
open.
say, we're gonna speak on it.
Look, I'm an open book. If you put your questions in the comment, if we don't get to it today, you put it in the comments. We'll get back to it. We'll get to it. I'm here to talk about
Talk about
it.
it. Don't hide it. Talk about it. All right. See you guys Wednesday.